Hi, this is my Uncle Chucky.
Hi.
Um, okay. Tell me about your upbringing.
Well, I'm one of the few people you ever meet in life that recall their date of birth. I remember being delivered. I was born a few years ago, as you can tell. And my parents, the thing about my parents I love so much was my father built his first house for my mother before they got married when they were 18 years of age. And when we came into the world, my sisters, my brother, and then we had a three-bedroom, one and a half bath home on an acre lot, and we had hound dogs. And my father was very woodsy, very outdoorsman, and my mother played the piano, of course. And we always had the best of music in the house, the best of culture, the best of food, the best of conversation. Mother was a very giving, warm-bodied person. She was very hands-on, and that's one thing I miss about the world today: that interconnecting of families, that nucleus. And we had our grandparents, which were they lived a stone's throw away as well. But my life, I think, was very embracing. We embraced Chicago. We lived on 4457 South Greenwood, the first apartment there, before the parents bought the house in that neighborhood. Um, and we always went to theaters. Goodman Theater, we were members there. Mother was involved in PTA, of course. She was PTA president. Arts and crafts we were involved in as well. I was a Boy Scout, Cub Scout. My parents were Scout den mothers, and my father was a Scout master, so it was very family oriented. My sisters danced; they took modern and creative dancing, and it was church based as well. So we had a nice upbringing. And then as we got older and understood what it meant to have such a good time, we had Chicago to be independent in. We rode buses around the city at a very young age. Went shopping by ourselves. Chicago was young and tender and very safe back then.
You're
All
the youngest of how many kids?
I'm the youngest of four. The
Okay.
Fantastic Four: Brenda, Lunda, Ronnie, and then Wow.
How was it being the youngest?
Um, I think they always reminded me that I was the youngest. Even nowadays, they say you're the youngest. They call me things like baby, young boy, etc. It was endearing. I didn't feel penalized by that. I always thought it was a badge of honor because if I got in trouble anytime, I'm going to get my big brother on you, my big sister. And that helped me in structure wise. If I had any serious questions about life or homework
Right.
or driving, I can go to them with the right answers. And they always would overindulge me in things. And my parents, dad and mom, um, were very strict in disciplined ways. They made sure we understood what was right morally, scripturally, spiritually, and also civically as well. We had house rules, we had chores to do, and also we knew we had to be at a certain time of day, curfew as well. We would definitely be there. I miss those kind of things. I miss the structure of life nowadays because everything nowadays is so loose and go with the flow kind of stuff, vis-a-vis tattoos, piercings, etc. So my structure as I look at life today is I'm still the nerd. I'm still the one who's outside the normal equation. See, nerds were my best friends. See, I was a nerd. I was the one who was in second grade getting ready to skip grades. Even in college, I was on a scholarship, so I understood the principles of being smarter than the average person, etc. So my sister Linda, the same way. Um, we would look at things one time, and that was it. We mastered the programs quite easily, quite frequently as well. We retained information and was able to also share it with you, someone in a very communicative fashion as well. That's important to know how to discern and absorb and also comprehend things and be ready to give an actual explanation of what you read and saw as well. For instance, this is the week we're mourning and moaning because of Mandela. A lot of folk refuse to grasp how important he was in this world. The things he did, the forgiving aspects of his life and character as well. Who does that? Who spends 27 years in jail and then forgives their jailer? Who does that?
Would
Mandela
you
did that.
would you be able to do that?
I can walk in his shoes that way. I'm a forgiving person, but I think we have limitations in that regard. But I can understand the fact of forgiving and loving our neighbor as ourselves, and also setting the example of forgiving that way. I can grasp that, and also that's something I'm comfortable doing as well. But I don't know to the extreme. I think one of my best virtues, I think, if I analyze myself under the microscope, would be patience. To be patient with oneself first, and then to afford you the chance to respect and be patient with other folk who don't necessarily meet what you want them to do on the same time frames or your standards, etc. Those types of things. For instance, when we were driving, when you were trying to learn how to drive in my truck, remember those days?
Yes.
I said later turn right, later turn left, later just take your time and figure out the music, focus on your driving, and it'll come to pass. And look how you turned out to be an A-OK driver. Is that right, Miss Daisy? And also, too, to understand and have fun with that. That was the biggest thing, have fun and enjoy it, and not feel pressurized to try to impress someone. It's be yourself.
So, if there's anything about yourself, would you change anything about yourself?
Yes.
What would you change?
As one gets younger, like me, you critique yourself, and you say, how do I look? How do I feel? What can I improve? One thing I want to do this year that I'm cheating myself in not doing is my music. Because my music is better than stuff on the radios and airways. Now, I know that. But I got to get there. I got to fix my teeth. Because of an accident, I got to fix my teeth. I got to get more in the studios and make it happen with no fail. I like your quotes earlier when you mentioned to me about Frost. What did Frost say?
Mm-hmm.
The road less traveled.
All right.
And it made all the difference in the world. Those kind of things, kind of platitudes make a difference in one's life. So that's my mission, my goal for myself this year. If we don't establish goals for ourselves, what do we expect? No successes.
Right. One last question for you, Uncle Chucky.
Oh, just one?
Yes. Do you feel like you're an ordinary person or an extraordinary person, and why?
I don't think anyone in my family is ordinary, because we've excelled in so many areas of life and study as well. For instance, my mother, before college, her saying was in 1945, as she was a senior like you are, those seniors, she said something like Hannibal said, I will find a way or make one, which means to me that if the door wasn't open, she'd make a door. So we've always been outspoken, always not afraid of the challenge to make things happen with no excuses. When you make no excuses, you make no failures. Now, sometimes you can't hit 100% mark, but you can hit 99.9. Same thing about your SAT in school and tests like that, LSATs. Knock those things out. The same concept. Master it. So me, again, no one in my family is normal. We're not typical that way. We're always atypical. And I don't know if it's scientific, for instance, DNA strains or what. I look at my life, my family, my bloodline. I look at my contemporaries, my friends and cohorts. I look at them, I say, look at, in comparison, I'm trying to be fair, but they're so boring in that regard. They don't measure up to what we have. We've always been winners. We've always been not afraid of the challenge. We've always been excellers. And that's what we do. Again, I look at DNA and those genes that, in fact, come into play. And also, too, not afraid to speak one's mind and to be oneself. To thine own self be true. What did Shakespeare say? To be or not to be? That's the question.